Hey Vector people, I'm going to demonstrate a couple of features that are in the build I'm using at the moment. So first I'm just going to initialize my patch or my LFO, and just to show you, I'm on firmware 0.9.5, which is a test firmware not available to the public yet. These features will be released fairly soon. Okay, so I've initialized my 4 LFOs, and because they're all in sync, it looks like there are simply 2 LFOs. So let's just change the rate of one of them. So I've changed the rate of 3 to make it faster, and there you can see the dotted lines. You probably can't really see them too well via the camera. It is a lot clearer when it's not via the camera. So what I want to show you is going back out. I'm going to show you clocking first. So clocking for the A side is set to internal at the moment. That's the default. So it's for both sides. But what I can do is change that to vector. And because I've got the patch cable in the back, the ribbon cable connecting the expander port of the vector to the QVL, if I change the BPM of the vector, it changes immediately and accurately on the QVL. So you can clock your QVL from your vector. In fact, you can clock your QVL from anything that will send a clocking signal into the gate 1 or 2 inputs on the QVL. It's just if you have a vector, it's really easy with the backplane. So let's have a look at why that's a cool thing. Go to LFO1. I'll set it as a triangle. And what I'm going to do is flick through the modes until I get to 16th. And it says rate 50. That means it's taking 50 16th notes to do a cycle. Let's change that to 1. So 1 16th note is now a cycle. 5 16th notes is now a cycle. 10 16th notes is now a cycle. All right, nice and easy, clock to the vector. You can also send reset signals in that'll sync your LFOs up as well. Pretty standard, which is great. What do we do with this? Okay, let's go back to something a bit more interesting. Once we've got that sort of clocking happening, the next thing we can do is go to wave shape, sample and hold. Now, right now, that sample and hold, I'll set it back to a 16th. It's still running with the clocking from the vector, but it's running from a random source where it's sample and holding for the duration of 1 16th note. What I'll do is I'll change that to LFO 3. So now, what you can see on my Mordax is the green trace is LFO 3. It's a standard sort of sine wave. And the blue trace is the sample and hold on the 16ths that's related to the LFO 3 sine wave. So you can see that stepping through very nicely based on the 16ths. Whoops, I've just trod on the tripod and making it shake. Hope you didn't vomit. And if you did vomit, you didn't vomit on your computer. Anyway, we'll just slow that down a little to 2. So now it's 2 16ths per sample and hold. Maybe you can see that a bit more clearly. All right, that's cool. But what if we want to do something else? Well, within the sample and hold, you've got the opportunity to go to external. Now you can see the blue trace is just flatlined. Right? Right? Why has it done that? Because it's not triggering at all. It'll just stay at the last value it was at before I moved to external. You can see that my range is external. The trigger is gate 1. I've got a trigger input from my vector to gate 1 on the QVL. So what I'm going to do is go over to my vector. I'm going to put a couple of gates in on steps 1 and 5, and I'm going to hit run. So now the sample and hold is being triggered every time a gate comes in from the vector. So I could set it to all steps or some steps to create like a rhythm. Now, because that's going to a pitch input on a VCO, it sounds pretty horrible. If I want to tame that, here's what I can do. Right, so there's the sample and hold there. Remembering that the sample and hold on LFO1 is coming from LFO3, not LFO2 behind it. But what I can do, LFO1, okay, source LFO3, range external, trigger gate 1, all good. Now output 1, what I can do, and I'm going to turn the sound on. All right, Now the level is 0, meaning that it's compacting or it's attenuating the range of the sample and hold to be none. So it's just standard. Now I can then offset that. Sounds like an 8-bit Sinclair ZX Spectrum game, doesn't it? Anyway, so I can change my offset and then open the... Now keep in mind I've got those triggers coming from the vector on steps 1, 3, 5, 7, 8. Da 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 da. I threw a ratchet in there just to see what would happen. It's kind of fun. So, this is awesome. You've basically got a complete LFO tool, an LFO computer with 4 separate LFOs that you can manage in really nice ways on the QVL. But now it's a sample and hold utility as well. And you can also take an LFO external source and plug it into one of your CV inputs and use that as your source, or a noise input from somewhere else if you want to do that. So the QVL is incredibly flexible in that way. So quick roundup, 4 digital LFOs, highly configurable. And now with clockable sample and hold, as well as triggerable sample and hold, you have a lot of modular power in a small footprint. Okay, thanks for listening. Don't forget to smash like and subscribe. Yeah, cool.